Hey, one and all youth, Paul here, and I want to ask you something. What's one thing that you think you're good at? Could be anything. Could be sports, could be video games, it could be academics, could be whatever. What's one thing that you think you're good at? Turn to the person next to you and tell them, I'm good at this thing. Okay, let me ask you this. You've said the thing that you're good at. Let me ask you, how do you know you're good at it? How do you know? What metric or what scale are you using to determine I'm good at this thing? How do you know you're good at it? While you think about this question, I want to tell you about one of my favorite basketball players ever. It's not Kobe, it's not Jordan, it's not LeBron. His name is Brian Scalabrine. Brian Scalabrine played in the Celtics and he played on the Bulls about 10, 20 years ago, and he was dubbed one of the worst players in the entire NBA. People would make fun of him all the time. They would tweet and post, why is this guy playing? He's always on the bench. He averaged 1 point per game most seasons. In a game where you're scoring 2 to 3 points per hoop, he was getting 1. I don't know how you do that, but he was doing it. He was really easy to make fun of. He was a laughingstock. And so this sports show decided, you know what? Let's put these people to the test. They found 4 people across America who had said, this guy's bad. I'm better than this guy. And they said, all right, let's fly you out. So they found 4 people who were posting about this guy, Brian Scalabrine, and said, let's come on out and let's play him. They flew 4 people to play Brian Scalabrine in 4 1v1 games. 4 average Joes against 1 NBA player. And guess what happened? He wiped the floor with them. He dominated them every single game. He was dunking on people. He was hitting fadeaways. The final game, it was him versus 3 other people, a 1v3, and he still won. And in this, he said, one of his famous quotes, he said, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. And that's something we think about all the time. I'm closer to the greatest player of all time than you are to me. So let me ask you again that question. How do you know you're good at something? Chances are it's because you're better than someone else. That's how you know you're good at something. How do you know you're good at basketball? Because you're better than other people playing basketball. How do you know you're good at academics? Because your grades are higher than other people. I like to think that I'm a good hiker. It's weird to say that I'm good at hiking. I wouldn't normally think that. But last year, I went hiking with a big group of people, and I showed up 9 hours late, and I caught up to them in 2 hours. And I thought, maybe I am good at hiking. It's not until you compare yourself to other people that you start to think I'm good or I'm bad. I'm worse than these other people because they're doing it so much better. We start to compare ourselves. And when we start to look at this comparison, this I'm better or this I'm worse, we start to center around something that we call pride. Chances are you've heard of it. Chances are you've experienced it. We've all been around that person who's incredibly prideful, right? We all know that person who's so proud of their thing. You know, you're so good at this, you're so proud. And we can't stand prideful people, yet we can't help but be proud sometimes, huh? We know these people. Perhaps we've been these people. I have a hard time with team sports sometimes because I'm around so many people who are so prideful. We know it feels uncomfortable and we know it's wrong, right? We have so many idioms that comes with pride. Pride comes before the fall. God humbles the proud. We know that pride is a dangerous thing. We know that, and yet we can't help it. So what do we do when we realize, oh, I'm being prideful. I don't want to be prideful. What do? Well, we start to do the opposite sometimes, right? We start to shrink ourselves, to make ourselves feel small, and we become insecure. We know that pride is bad. We want to avoid pride, and so we start to become so insecure, and we minimize ourselves. Oh, no, I'm not good at this. I'm terrible. I'm awful. Don't look at me. Don't pay attention to me. Church sometimes does this too, right? They say like, hey, you know, like you don't deserve this, like you need to make yourself feel small. You deserve nothing. And we start to like react to pride and we start to think, maybe I don't deserve anything. Maybe I'm awful. Maybe I'm worthless. And we start to shrink ourselves. For some of us, pride is a defense mechanism. We try to make ourselves feel big and feel like we know what we're going on so people won't doubt us, so people won't challenge us. We start to puff ourselves up and we become prideful. For others, insecurity is the defense mechanism. We make ourselves feel small. We make ourselves feel like we shouldn't be seen because if we're seen, then people will see us how we're struggling, right? People will see us start to fail and mess up. And so we don't want anyone to see us. And so we've got 2 ends of a pendulum, and both of which I would say are pretty dangerous. One, a life of pride where you think that you're the greatest, and we know how damaging that is. But the opposite is it's true too. We live a life where we make ourselves tiny and minute. So what do we do? Are these our only two options? Do we live a life where we're just incredibly prideful all the time, proud of everything we do, we can do no wrong? Or do we live a life of insecurity? Nobody sees us. I don't talk to anybody. I don't step up anything. I don't do anything because I'm afraid to fail. I don't want anyone to see me. Is that what we're doomed to? The Bible tells us no. The Bible gives us another alternative. Rather than try to balance pride and insecurity, the Bible gives us two other things to balance: confidence and humility. Confidence and humility, where pride says, I am amazing, I can do no wrong. Insecurity says, I am worthless, I am terrible. Confidence says, I am made in the image of God. I am loved by God. God loves and cares for me. Humility says, I am made in the image of God. God is so much bigger than me. There is a God who knows so much more than me. Do you see how even reframing these things helps us change the way we see ourselves? So how do we balance this tension? This tension of both confidence and humility? Well, again, we can turn to the Bible. Last week at One Night, we talked about the story of David and Goliath, and I'd like to look at that story if you'll join me real quick. Now, just to recap this story, Goliath is this giant warrior from a nation called the Philistines. They're the enemies of Israel. They're the enemies of this main character, David, and he's just this behemoth of a guy. A behemoth means like a big, almost like a monster. He's so big. And so he struck fear into the hearts of all these Israelites because he was just so dangerous and scary. And we've got David, who is the youngest of 8 siblings. He's the smallest guy, and he's like a shepherd guy. He's not a warrior. He's not a fighter. He's not trained in combat. He's just a shepherd of a guy. And at this point, he's probably pretty young as well. David is somebody who has no business fighting this guy, Goliath. And yet, Goliath is attacking the Israelites. He's representing kind of this dangerous force. And David steps up and says, I will fight Goliath. Here's what the king of Israel says to David. Saul was his name. Saul replied, you are not able to go out against the Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from youth. Now David responds, and a couple verses later, he said, the Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of the Philistine. Look at David's response. Saul offers actually a really rare, correct observation. You have no business fighting this guy. What does David say? He doesn't say, no, I am a warrior. I am a great fighter. I could kill Goliath because I'm the best fighter. He doesn't say that. He also doesn't say, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I shouldn't fight him. I'll let someone else do it. No. He says, I know God. I follow God. And God has protected me before, and he will do so again. You see how he centers his identity in who God is, not who he is. And when we try to talk about confidence versus humility, we need to recognize that neither of those things comes from us. It happens to us. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself, putting yourself down. It's thinking of yourself less. It's drawing from the way God already thinks about you. In James, this is a couple hundred years later, James is writing a letter and he says, humble yourselves before the Lord and he will lift you up. Come near to God and he will come near to you. So this problem has persisted a long time. How do we humble ourselves? By drawing near to God, and God will draw near to us. When we participate in community with other believers, when we read our Bibles every day, when we are surrounding ourselves and reminding of ourselves of who God is, we can begin to find this tension of confidence and humility. Not by submitting to pride and saying that we are great, because we know that we are not compared to God. We know that there is a God who is perfect in all things. How could we ever attempt to say that we are the same? We can't. But then we also know that there is a God who loves us and cares for us so much, who desires to be with us, who loves you more than anything else. How could you possibly say that you don't deserve that when God is saying that I want to give it to you? You haven't earned it, you don't deserve it, but yet God is giving it to you anyways. How do we find this tension? By drawing near to God. And if you today are struggling with pride or you're struggling with insecurity, I would ask you, are you drawing near to God? As we try to find this tension, rather than just trying to just try real hard to grit your teeth to just like do it, try drawing near to God. And what does it say? God will come near to you. How do we find this tension? By doing exactly that. As we go to our small groups, I want you to talk about this tension. It's probably going to be different for each and every one of you. But I want to help us find that tension between confidence and humility. And I truly believe it's by drawing near to God. So that's what we're going to talk about in our small groups, guys. It's been so great to have you. I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful time.